Hey coin hunters, welcome back to the channel where your spare change might just be your retirement plan. And if you're new here, buckle up because today we're diving deep into a coin that might be hiding in your junk drawer or jingling around in your car's cup holder right now. It's the 1965 no mint Mark Washington quarter, and get this, one of these bad boys sold for $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $1 million. For a quarter. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions inside out, let's talk about why this coin is such a big deal. I mean, what makes one little piece of metal worth more than a house in the suburbs? That's exactly what we're gonna explore today. We'll break down what makes the 1965 quarter special, what to look for, how to know if you've got a jackpot in your pocket, and of course I'll tell you the story of the time I thought I found one and almost fainted in a gas station parking lot. So sit back, grab your coin jar and maybe a magnifying glass, because this is one video you don't want to miss. Let's roll. Alright, so let's set the stage. It's 1965. The Beatles are all over the radio. Gas costs 30 cents a gallon and the US Mint is in a bit of a panic. You see, in 1964 quarters were made with 90% silver. But the price of silver started climbing and people were hoarding coins like crazy. I mean, seriously, it was like Black Friday but for coins. So what did the government do? They said forget silver, we're switching to a copper-nickel clad combo in 1965. That means starting that year quarters weren't made with any silver at all. They looked similar, sure, but the value was totally different. The old ones were worth their weight in silver, the new ones just face value. But here's where it gets juicy. Somewhere in that chaos, a few quarters from 1965 were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. That means some 1965 quarters are actually silver in disguise. These are the rare unicorns of pocket change, and if you've got one, we're talking potentially up to $1 million. So how do you know if your 1965 quarter is worth $1 million or just 25 cents? First up, check the edge. Most clad quarters from 1965 have a brownish strip along the edge because of the copper core. But the silver ones are solid silver all the way through. No copper strip, no problem. Next, the sound. Seriously, give it a little drop test. Silver coins make a high-pitched ring like a tiny bell. Clad coins make a dull clunk like they're already disappointed in themselves. It's not perfect, but it's a quick test if you're going through a bunch of change, and weight matters too. Silver quarters weigh about 6.25 grams while clad ones are around 5.67 grams. It doesn't sound like much, but if you've got a good digital scale, that tiny difference could mean a huge payday. Finally, condition. The best $1 million quarter discovered so far was in nearly perfect shape. Like barely touched. No pocket lint, no soda spills, just pristine. So if you've got one that looks like it's been through a war, probably not the jackpot, but still worth checking. Let's get nerdy for a second. A rare 1965 quarter that sold for $1 million was actually an error coin struck on a silver planchet and in top-notch mint state condition. That's like finding a 4-leaf clover made out of diamonds during a solar eclipse while winning the lottery. Collectors go wild for this stuff because it combines rarity, historical importance, and flawless preservation. It's the holy trinity of coin collecting. Alright, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was at this rundown gas station on a road trip. You know, the kind where the bathroom key is attached to a cinder block. I buy a bottle of water and get a quarter back in change. I notice it looks a little different. Shinier. Heavier. My coin senses start tingling. I dash to my car, grab my mini coin scale and weigh it. Boom, 6.2 grams. My heart starts racing. I call my buddy who's a coin expert. I'm pacing in the parking lot like I just found a golden ticket. Turns out, my scale was off by 0.3 grams because it had a dead battery. Yeah. Talk about a buzzkill. It was a regular clad quarter all along. But hey, it made me double check every quarter I've touched since, and you better believe I still think about what could have been. Nobody knows for sure, but the estimates are low. Maybe a few dozen 1965 silver quarters slipped through the cracks. Some have been found, some probably got spent and vanished forever, and a few might still be sitting in old piggy banks or rattling around in jars in grandpa's basement. So when you're sorting through change, you're not just being weird. You're treasure hunting. And honestly, isn't that more fun than watching TV reruns for the 10th time? Okay, let's say you found a silver 1965 quarter. First, don't freak out. Okay, maybe freak out a little. then get it professionally appraised. You'll want to send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm if it's silver, if it's authentic, and what condition it's in. Once it's graded, you can take it to auction or sell it through a reputable coin dealer. But don't rush. The coin market is just like real estate, timing and presentation matter. You want buyers to get excited. Listed with high-res photos include the grading info and prepare for bids to fly, and please, for the love of numismatics, don't clean the coin. I repeat, do not clean the coin. A shiny quarter with scratches is worth way less than a dull one in original condition. Let the pros handle it. The $1 million sale got all the attention, but other 1965 silver quarters in decent shape have gone for $5,000 to $10,000. Some even higher depending on the grade. So even if you don't hit the million mark, you could still walk away with enough for a new car, a killer vacation, or that backyard barbecue setup you've been dreaming about. So there you have it, folks. A little chunk of metal that could change your life. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is one of the wildest error coins in modern history. It's rare, valuable, and maybe, just maybe, sitting in your pocket right now. If there's one thing to take from this, it's that knowledge is power. And maybe also that hoarding change isn't such a bad habit after all. And now listen, if you enjoyed this dive into coin treasure, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because we've got a lot more coming your way. We're talking $1 million pennies, dimes that could pay off your mortgage, and tips on how to spot value in the coins you see every day. Smash that like button, share this with your coin collecting uncle or your friend who's always broke but has a mountain of change in his car. And hey, if you've got a coin you want me to cover, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Hey folks, have you ever dropped a quarter in a vending machine and thought, welp, that's gone forever? Well, what if I told you that same quarter might have been worth $1.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin, worth more than a fancy sports car, more than your house, and heck, maybe more than both combined if you live where I do. Today we're diving deep into the wild and wonderful world of coins, and not just any coin. We're talking about the legendary 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter. If you've got one lying around, you might want to grab a magnifying glass, a flashlight, and a seat, because we're about to uncover why this simple little coin can be worth a fortune. Now, before we go all Indiana Jones treasure hunt, let me tell you a quick story. So I was at my buddy Earl's garage sale last summer. Now Earl's one of those guys who collects everything: old radios, bottle caps, expired coupons, you name it. I'm digging through a dusty old coffee tin full of loose change, you know, the kind of tin that smells like motor oil and broken dreams, and I pull out a 1966 quarter. Earl says, "You want it? Take it. Buy me a hot dog later." I say, deal. Little did I know, that quarter could have bought him an entire hot dog stand. Alright, enough teasing. Let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this magical quarter: what makes it so valuable, how to tell if you have one, and how not to accidentally spend it on a pack of gum. First things first. The 1966 Washington quarter was minted during an interesting time in U.S. coin history. Just a year after the mint stopped making quarters with silver in them. Yep, before 1965, quarters were 90% silver. But starting in 1965, they switched over to a clad composition, copper-nickel sandwich style. Like a coin Oreo, but way less tasty. No coins from 1965 to 1967 have mint marks. That's right. No P, no D, no S, no nothing. The US Mint was trying to discourage coin hoarding, because people were going nuts after the silver content changed. So during those 3 years, they left off all mint marks. So when you see a 1966 quarter with no mint mark, that's actually totally normal. Alright, here's where things get spicy. Not every 1966 quarter is worth $1 million. In fact, most of them are still just worth, well, 25 cents. Or 50 if you're trying to trick your little cousin. Those are the rare errors, the minting anomalies, and the ones in pristine, near-perfect condition. I'm talking high-grade, mint-state, museum-level coins. Coins that look like they were minted yesterday and stored in an angel's glove box ever since. Yes, I said silver. Every now and then, during the chaos of the mint changing metal compositions, a few leftover silver blanks snuck into the machines and got stamped with 1966 designs. If your quarter has that shiny silver look, weighs a bit more than usual, about 6.25 grams, and rings like a bell when you drop it, you might be holding a silver planchet error, and those are worth serious cash. Like take a cruise around the world kind of cash. Next up, you've got the double die errors. That's when the coin gets struck twice by the die, slightly off. It's like coin déjà vu. You look at the motto, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." If the letters look like they had won too many drinks, it could be a double die. These kinds of errors are rare, and collectors drool over them even without an error. A flawless 1966 quarter with full detail and zero wear can fetch big bucks. Graded by a pro service like PCGS or NGC, these coins can get a mint state rating. If yours hits MS68 or MS69, buddy, you're sittin' on a gold mine. Or at least a nickel and copper mine worth a fortune. One such coin sold for $1.5 million at a private auction. Imagine that. A coin that once paid for a pack of gum is now worth more than a Ferrari. Grab a scale. A standard clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams. A silver planchet one? About 6.25 grams. Grab a magnet. Silver isn't magnetic. So if it sticks? Sorry, Charlie. The ring test. Gently drop the coin on a hard surface, preferably padded with something soft like a towel so you don't damage it. Silver coins give off a long, high-pitched ring. Clad coins? More of a dull thud. Look for those double die letters, weird edges, off-center strikes, anything that looks funky. If you think you've got a winner, get it graded. Don't guess. Coin grading companies will tell you exactly what you have and assign a value. Let's talk real people with real luck. A guy in Ohio found a silver planchet 1966 quarter in a jar of change inherited from his grandfather. Sent it in to be graded. Boom. Over $1 million payout. Another woman found one while going through her late husband's coin collection. She almost gave it to her grandson for the arcade. Luckily, she asked a coin shop first. That arcade token turned out to be a gem, literally and financially. Good ol' Earl's garage sale. I had mine checked. Turns out? Just a normal quarter. Womp womp. But hey, it got me into collecting, and I've found some solid gems since. And I still owe Earl that hot dog, not on Craigslist, I'll tell you that. You want to go to auction houses, reputable coin dealers, or even online platforms like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections, and be very careful of scams. If someone says, "I'll give you $500 for that rare quarter," when you know it might be worth $500,000, walk away. Or better yet, run. We've covered a lot today. The 1966 no-mint Mark Washington quarter might look like just another coin in your pocket, but it could be a life-changer hiding in plain sight. Check your jars, your drawers, your couch cushions, that old change cup in the car. Who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune. It's not just about the money. It's the thrill of the hunt, the stories you find along the way, and the sheer joy of discovering value in the things we overlook every day. And if you learned something new today, give this video a big ol' thumbs up and share it with your coin-loving buddies. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I drop videos all the time about coins that could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Turn on those notifications, too, so you don't miss the next $1 million coin reveal. Hey folks, let me hit you with a question right out the gate. When's the last time you checked your change? No, really. I mean that crumpled pile of quarters in your car cup holder or that junk drawer in the kitchen you've been ignoring since 1997. There could be a fortune hiding in there, and you wouldn't even know it, because today, we're diving into a very specific coin, the 1987 D Washington quarter. Now this isn't your average pizza money. Nope. One of these bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.8 million. And before you go running off to tear apart your couch cushions, stick around, because we're gonna unpack the secrets of why this humble Denver minted quarter is commanding such insane prices, what to look for, and how you could be the next person cashing in big time. Plus, I'll tell you a little story about how I nearly spent a valuable coin on a gas station hot dog. No shame in my game, alright? Grab yourself a snack, get comfortable, and let's talk coins. The 1987 D quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series that's been around since 1932. Now, in 1987, these quarters were mass-produced at the Denver Mint, hence the little D Mint mark right there on the front, under the neck of George Washington. That year, over 655 million of these quarters were made. Sounds like a lot, right? You'd think these are about as rare as pine needles in a forest. But here's the twist: while most of these quarters are worth face value, there's a teeny tiny group that are worth a small fortune. And we're talking millionaire level fortune. The $1 million version of the 1987 D quarter didn't just fall out of a vending machine one day. It's all about condition, rarity, and one big word: errors. You see, the most valuable 1987 D quarter ever sold was in absolutely pristine condition. I mean, it looked like it just came off the press yesterday. Collectors call this a mint state, and the highest grade you can get is MS-70. This particular coin was a near-perfect MS-69, which is rare enough to make coin collectors sweat with excitement, but it wasn't just the condition. This quarter had a rare die error. Something went funky during the minting process. That could be double die, off-center strike, missing letters, you name it. In this case, the coin had a combination of ultra-high quality, a sharp strike, and a very subtle but valuable die variety that made it stand out, and once a couple of collectors got into a bidding war for it, well, boom. $1.8 million. The kind of money that makes you rethink your entire laundry routine. Alright, now let's talk strategy. If you're digging through your change hoping to strike gold or silver, in this case, here's what you need to keep your eyes peeled for. Look for that mint mark. It has to be a 1987 D. No P mint marks, no SD for Denver. Check the condition. If it's all scratched up like a cat's favorite couch, it's not your lucky day. But if you find a coin that's super sharp, shiny, and looks brand new, you might be onto something. Point 3, inspect for errors. Get yourself a magnifying glass, a good light, and maybe a cup of coffee. Look for doubling on the lettering or the date. Look for off-center images. Anything that looks just slightly off might actually be worth a fortune. You don't need to be Indiana Jones of numismatics. There are tons of online forums, price guides, and grading services that can help you out. I personally like to use PCGS and NGC for checking up on coin grades and values. So about 3 years ago, I was road tripping across the Midwest, and I stopped at this little gas station just outside of Topeka. I was starving. I walk in, I see this rotating hot dog that looked like it had been there since the 80s. Naturally, I bought it. Now, I dig into my change and pay with a few quarters and a dollar bill. The clerk takes the change and pauses. He holds one quarter up to the light and squints. I was like, man, I just want my hot dog. Turns out, the guy was a coin collector on the side and had an eye for details. That quarter was a 1987 D, looked almost untouched. I'm not saying it was worth $1.8 million, but that moment taught me something: never underestimate your pocket change. He let me buy the hot dog with a different coin, and I kept that quarter. Later on, I had it looked at. It wasn't worth millions, but it was worth about $150. Not bad for change I was about to hand over for mystery meat. Always check your change. And maybe avoid gas station hot dogs. Well, don't go tossing it on eBay for a quick buck. First, get it graded. Send it to a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it'll cost a few bucks, but if your coin's worth thousands or more, that's a solid investment. Once it's graded and authenticated, you've got a few options. High-end auction houses, coin shows, collector networks, and yes, sometimes even eBay, but only if you know what you're doing. The key is knowing what your coin is really worth before you list it. You don't want to be the guy who sells a $10,000 coin for $20 and a bag of chips. The 1987 D Washington quarter might look like a regular coin, but under the right conditions, and I mean literally the right conditions, it could be worth a life-changing $1.80 million. It's all about details. Condition. Rarity. Errors. And a little bit of luck. You don't need to be a professional collector to spot treasure in your change. You just need to pay attention and stay curious. Who knows, maybe the next $1 million quarter is sitting under your car seat right now, nestled between a paper straw wrapper and a rogue French fry. And if you've enjoyed this video, if you've learned something new, or if you're now staring into your coin jar like it holds the secret to early retirement, then do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. Now we've got more coin tips, stories, and $1 million finds coming your way. And hey, it might just be the best financial decision you've made all year, besides checking your change. Of course, thanks for watching, happy hunting, and remember, never spend without inspecting. Hey there, coin hunters and garage sale warriors, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever dropped a quarter in a vending machine and thought, just 25 cents? Well, what if I told you that same quarter could have been worth $1.3 million? Yep. That's right. 1,300,000. For one coin. And not some ancient Roman coin you need to dig up in an archaeological dig. I'm talking about a 1990p Washington quarter. I know it sounds nuts. I didn't believe it either. But after a wild experience involving an old coin jar, a dusty drawer, and my mother-in-law's eagle eye for shiny things, I am here to tell you these treasures are real. And today, we're going to break it all down, from how this unassuming quarter became a millionaire's dream to how you might be holding one right now without even knowing it. So stick around, grab that jar of change off your dresser, and let's go hunting for hidden treasure, because today, we're cracking the case of the 1990p Washington quarter and why it's turning heads and emptying wallets in the coin collecting world. Alright, so let's get something straight. Not every 1990p quarter is worth 7 figures. If that were the case, I'd be broadcasting from a private yacht eating gold-flaked ice cream. But one very specific version of this coin has fetched a mind-blowing $1.3 million. What makes it so special, you ask? Let's break it down. The P Mint mark means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. They cranked out hundreds of millions of these quarters. So it's not rare because of how many were made, it's rare because of how one specific coin was made. This coin was struck with an error. And in the world of coin collecting, an error isn't just a mistake, it's a golden ticket. We're talking about minting mistakes, the kind that slip past inspectors and land in circulation, looking innocent until someone with a magnifying glass and a lot of free time discovers the jackpot. In the case of the 1990p, the $1 million version had a misaligned die strike, meaning the design on one side of the coin didn't line up right. Combine that with a double die reverse and some extremely crisp detail, and bam, you've got a unicorn in your pocket. A few years ago, I was helping my mom clean out her garage. You know how that goes, 3 boxes in, you're already sweaty and regretting every decision you've ever made. Then, I found this old Folgers coffee can, not full of coffee, but full of quarters. The thing probably weighed 30 pounds. I joked, "Hey mom, this could be our retirement fund." She laughed. I laughed. The dog even wagged his tail. But then, just for kicks, I started looking at the dates. I found a 1990p quarter. Nothing looked weird. I put it aside, thinking I might look it up later. Then, I forgot about it. Fast forward a year. I'm watching one of those late-night YouTube rabbit hole videos, you know, the kind that starts with top 10 haunted houses and ends with coins worth millions hiding in your couch cushions. I see this exact coin pop up. I bolt out of bed like I just won the lottery. I spent 4 hours tearing apart every drawer in the house looking for that one quarter, never found it. But let that be a lesson. If you think it might be valuable, don't wait. Don't toss it in a drawer or let it roll behind the fridge. You might literally be losing $1 million. Let's get nerdy for a second, in a fun way. If you want to know whether your 1990p quarter is the one, here's what to look for. First of all, check that P on the front, right beside Washington's ponytail. That's your first clue. Hold the coin face up and spin it around. If the back is off-center or rotated strangely, that's a strong indicator of a misalignment. Look at the word United or quarter dollar on the back. If it looks like it has a shadow or double image, bingo. A high-grade version with almost nowhere is a dream. The shinier, the better. If all those factors check out, you might want to take it to a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it an official grade. Coins that get graded MS67 or higher, that's mint state, are where you start seeing those 6 and 7 figure values. Why would someone pay $1.3 million for a quarter? Well, it's all about supply and demand and the collector's obsession with perfection and rarity. This particular coin is one of one. That means it's unique, the only known example of this exact error, in this exact condition. And coin collectors, especially high-end ones, they love that. They want the rarest of the rare, the cream of the coin crop. Also, there's historical interest. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932. The 1990s weren't known for big minting errors, so one showing up from that era? It's like finding a typo in a Harry Potter book where Harry turns into a velociraptor. People want that kind of anomaly. If you're thinking, yeah right, I'll never find one, don't be so quick to doubt obvious but overlooked. You'd be amazed how many folks find these things in regular circulation. Grandpas and grandmas who collected coins and tossed them in cigar boxes are your secret weapon. Not only do you learn a lot, but sometimes people undervalue what they're selling places like eBay, but be very cautious. Lots of fakes out there. If the price seems too good to be true, it probably is, and I swear I'm not being paid to say this. Get a cheap jeweler's loupe and a coin reference guide. You'll be the Sherlock Holmes of coin collecting in no time. Now, before we wrap this up, let me quickly give a shout out to a few other coins from around the same time that are also worth keeping an eye out for. 1983 P Washington quarter with strong doubling, worth thousands. 1999 Georgia quarter with off-center strike, also big bucks. 1965 quarter struck on silver planchets. If it weighs more than 6 grams, call your lawyer and book a cruise. That boring-looking quarter in your sock drawer could be the very thing that pays off your mortgage, sends your kid to college, or buys you that muscle car you've been dreaming of since 1987. And if nothing else, learning about these coins is fun. It turns a regular Tuesday into a treasure hunt. Next time you get change at the gas station, don't just toss it in the cup holder, take a good look. There could be a piece of American minting history staring back at you. If you enjoyed this wild ride through coin country, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I've got tons more videos on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and how to tell the difference between junk change and jackpot change. Share this with your buddy who thinks all quarters are just for parking meters. They might thank you with a slice of that $1 million pie. Until next time, keep those eyes sharp, those coin jars open, and remember, not all treasure is buried. Some of it's sitting in your glove box right now. Hey everyone, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever had one of those days where you're digging through the couch cushions for spare change just to grab a soda, and suddenly, you find a quarter that looks like it's been through 5 world wars and a trip to space? Well, hold on to that beat-up change, because today we're talking about a 1996 D Washington quarter that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A regular OL quarter, worth over $1 million. That's 4.4 million gumballs if you're keeping track. Now, before you run and flip over your piggy bank like it's a piñata at a kid's party, let's dive into the story, the details, and how you might actually be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Plus, I'll share a little story about how I almost spent a rare coin at a gas station on a hot dog. Spoiler alert, thank goodness I didn't. Stick around to the end. I'm gonna break down exactly what to look for and how to cash in if you strike coin gold. Alright, let's roll back the clock to 1996. We had beepers. We had dial-up internet. We had Blockbuster and Michael Jordan still dunking on people like gravity owed him money, and somewhere in the Denver Mint, a regular OL Washington quarter was born, or so it seemed. That the 1996 D Washington quarter was minted in large numbers. Over 900 million of them, actually. That's not rare. That's you could fill every seat in every stadium on earth and still have change left over kind of numbers. Simple. It's a rare error combined with a perfect condition that makes collectors go bananas. Here's where it gets juicy. The $1 million 1996 D quarter isn't just your everyday, beat-up change. Oh no, it has a few wild characteristics. The coin is struck on the wrong planchet or has a double die error. We're talking about coins graded MS68 or higher, that's mint state, and it basically means it's in near perfect, untouched condition. Only a few known to exist in this condition with that specific error. When collectors get wind of something this rare, the bidding wars begin, and that's how a 25-cent piece ends up being worth over $1.1 million today. Wild, right? Okay, so here's where it gets personal. A few years ago, I was driving cross-country, big adventure, bad snacks, terrible gas station bathrooms. Anyway, I stopped at this little gas station in the middle of nowhere. I reach into my pocket to pay for a hot dog that probably should have been retired in 2004, and I pull out this shiny quarter. Something about it made me stop. It looked different. Almost too new. Like it had a glow about it. I'm not even joking, it was glowing like the holy grail of currency. I hesitated, but hunger got the best of me, and I almost slapped that coin down on the counter. But something in my gut said, nah, hold on. Long story short, I kept the coin, did some research, and while it wasn't worth $1 million, it was a valuable error quarter that I later sold for a couple $1,000. Moral of the story? Never underestimate pocket change. That hot dog can wait. Mint Mark D. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Look for double images on the lettering or Washington's face. Weird textures. Off-center strikes. a high-grade coin looks practically untouched. Sharp lines. Full details. Not like lip gloss. Coin luster is that clean, cartwheel shine you see when tilting the coin under light. If you've got something that looks special, get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Just because it has the date 1996 and a D mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth $1 million. But with the right combo of error and condition, you might just hit the jackpot. Coin collectors aren't just hoarders with magnifying glasses. They're passionate about history, rarity, and beauty in small forms. This 1996 D quarter combines all three. It's a coin that tells a story, a mistake at the mint that became a once-in-a-generation treasure. Think of it like Pokemon cards. Everyone had M. But only a few got that super rare holographic Charizard. Same energy. Just with more presidents and less Pikachu. So next time you get change back from a vending machine, don't just toss those quarters into a drawer or use them to scratch off lottery tickets. Take a closer look. That boring 25-cent piece might just be hiding $1 million secret. The 1996 D Washington quarter is a perfect example of how something small, overlooked, and ordinary can turn out to be absolutely extraordinary. And if that's not a metaphor for life, I don't know what is. If you learned something today, if you laughed a little, or if you're already halfway through flipping over your coin jar, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because I've got more where this came from. We're talking valuable pennies, nickels, dimes, coins you've never even thought twice about that could make you rich. And hey, if you've got a weird-looking quarter in your pocket right now, drop a comment below. Who knows? Maybe we'll uncover another $1 million mystery together. Thanks for watching, and remember, check your change, not just your phone. Alright folks, stop what you're doing. No, seriously, drop that remote, pause your coffee sip, and go grab your pocket change. Because there's a sneaky little coin out there from 1997, a Washington quarter with a tiny P mint mark, and believe it or not, it could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That's not a typo. $1.5 million. Now before you say, no way, I probably spent that on a vending machine soda 10 years ago, hold tight. We're diving into how a regular-looking coin you've seen 1,000 times can be hiding in plain sight and be more valuable than your car, your house, and your cousin's Bitcoin wallet combined. We're talking about history, mint errors, collector demand, and even a little personal story of mine where I almost spent a valuable coin on laundry. Don't worry, I didn't, but it was close. You're going to want to hear this. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dig into this wild world of rare quarters. And trust me, you'll be checking your couch cushions by the end of this. Let's rewind to 1997. Gas was cheap. The internet sounded like robot squirrels screaming through a phone line. And the US Mint in Philadelphia was quietly striking Washington quarters like it had done for decades. But something strange happened. And now, the 1997 P Washington quarter is normally just face value, 25 cents, same as your average quarter. Nothing special, right? Wrong. A few of these quarters were struck under unusual conditions. Some had double dies. Others had off-center strikes. And one in particular, the star of today's show, came out looking almost flawless, with a strong strike, mirror-like fields, and nearly perfect condition. This beauty somehow dodged the fate of a million other quarters: no scratches, no vending machine dents, no grandma's coin jar moisture. Condition. We're talking about a coin graded MS68 or better. That's mint lingo for basically perfect. Less than 1 in a million make it to that level. Rarity. While millions were struck, only a handful survived in pristine condition. Coin collectors? They go nuts for that kind of scarcity. Demand. The market for rare coins is hotter than a sidewalk in July. Wealthy collectors and coin nerds, like me, are willing to pay big for top-tier examples of modern coins. Why? Because they're tough to find and fun to show off. You ever see someone light up when you show them a coin they've never seen before? That's collector joy, baby. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at my buddy Tony's house for poker night. Chips were down, jokes were flying, and someone spilled a can of cola all over the table. In the cleanup mess, someone handed me a handful of change, quarters, dimes, and what looked like a sticky nickel. I'm a coin guy, so I do what I always do, I glance at the dates. Boom. 1997, mint mark P. And this thing looked shiny. I mean, like fresh out of the vault shiny. So I took it home, threw it under a loop, and what do you know, this thing had all the hallmarks of a rare specimen. I sent it off to be graded, and while it didn't hit that $1 million mark, it came close enough to make me sit down and say, I almost bought beef jerky with this. Lesson learned. So how do you know if you've got one of these rare 1997 P quarters? The better the condition, the higher the value. Crisp details, especially in Washington's hair and the eagle on the reverse array, talking blinding, mirror-like surfaces doubling in the letters or numbers, off-center images, or die cracks. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I grade a coin? I can't just eyeball it. That's true. Which is why you'll want to get in touch with a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give your coin a score, seal it in plastic, and if you hit the jackpot, you're going to want that authentication when you're negotiating with buyers who can afford a yacht. Auctions, baby. Online and live. Heritage auctions, Stacksbauers, great collections, these guys are the big dogs. That 1997 P quarter that went for $1.5 million? It showed up at one of these, made a few jaws drop, and someone walked away with a coin worth more than a beachfront condo. That quarter might have been sitting in someone's piggy bank for 20 years. They could have found it while looking for toll money. That's why this stuff is so exciting. You never know what hidden treasure you might be sitting on. Here's a little look for the tiny P on the front, just beside Washington's ponytail. Check the shine. If it's dull or scratched up, probably just a regular quarter. But if it looks like it belongs in a museum, you're on to something. Look for any doubling, cracks, or other oddities. If it looks promising, don't spend it. Get it appraised. My cousin Jerry heard about my lucky poker night find and started hoarding every quarter he touched. I kid you not, his glove box is a quarter museum. He's got rolls of 1997 quarters, hoping lightning strikes twice. Has he found anything valuable? Not yet. But his gas mileage definitely went down with all that weight in the car. That not all change is just change. That sometimes a regular OL 1997 P quarter can be a millionaire's dream. That you should always check your pockets before you throw your laundry in. And that coin collecting isn't just for old guys in basements, it's for anyone who loves history, treasure hunting, and maybe a little excitement mixed in with their spare change. If you've got a 1997 P Washington quarter, go take a closer look. And if you don't, keep looking. The next one might be in your wallet, your car cup holder, or even the tip jar at your local coffee shop. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like if you learned something new. And ring the little bell so you don't miss out on more videos about valuable coins hiding right under your nose. We've got tips, strategies, and even more crazy stories coming your way, because when it comes to coins, knowledge really can make you rich. Literally.